Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Red Flood. It's Avant-Garde France. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So there's a little bit of a little plot brewing underneath the surface of France right now. To depose Artrund. And we'll see how that goes. The recent escalation of conflict between the different personalities of the Escadron movement has intensified to an unprecedented degree. The economic question has evidently lit a spark between the egos of our tendency luminaries. What was once a typical squabbles of the various Paris-region clubs has turned into fistfights, with some cases even involving weapons. One such incident occurred between supporters of Pierre Clementi and adherents of Marcel Boucan's economic policy. In a Parisian bar, a heated discussion between the two groups turned first to name-calling, the Clementi faction calling Picard supporters bourgeois dogs and the vestiges of the old corrupt regime who should have been burned alongside it. Whilst the advocates for Boucan's named the Clementists as a degenerate communist who should fuck off to Germany, which then turned into a frightful scuffle. As the fight spilled out into the streets, blood threatened to swarm the district as the combatants brandished knives, brass knuckles, clubs, and razors. As heads were beaten, eyes were slashed, and bodies mutilated as soon as it became apparent to all of those who had heard the news of the clash that the Escadron was not as united as it appeared. The display of ruthless, unabashed violence was apparent members of the same organization meant that this issue had to be put to bed and soon. Any prolonging threatened to shatter the alliance that sought to achieve a French utopia. And the future is French. It wasn't long before propaganda posters started being plastered everywhere. The heritage of France should not be lost. That to all those who should see it burned in revolution. France is being strangled, will you save her? Maurice walked through the streets, trying not to gaze long at them. He did not know if the police were watching, or even if people were paying attention at the posters. He just wanted to walk down the street. The friend of old France was valuable. In fact, without his help, it would be more than likely that Maurice would have been in yet another drunken stupor, waiting for his day to die. Now there was purpose, there was action, there was hope for free France, bringing forth from the wellspring, bringing water to the thirsty. It was, in his own way, beautiful. But by gods above, he was not used to this work. It was hard work, stressful work. He could feel his muscles tighten with stress, even if he was just sitting. Every morning, he could wake up and notice fresh fallen hairs on the pillow. But not that that mattered. If there had been a revival of French's glory, then it would be he would gladly work his hands to the bone. Okay, again, low manpower and resources. We don't need to worry about that. KPD victory in the German elections. So they have gone vanguardist. Again, really, what happened in Germany is not a high concern for us. They can do whatever it is that they feel like doing. The headache. A friend of old France. Amuel loved the name for himself. It was simply inspired. Simply, completely inspired. He sat in the cafe, sipping away at some espresso. It tasted like absolute shit. Yet, another product of the insanity that had consumed France. If you could not rely on Parisian cafes to have decent coffee, then what the hell could you rely on? Nothing, that's what. The coffee didn't need to taste good, though. He just felt off today, like something else was nagging in his mind, somewhere in the back, inexpressible and constant. It felt like something was pulling at him. But he finished his espresso and tipped well. The wait staff deserved it, after all. Working for a living was respectable. It was good. It was the type of France that he wanted to see. He wanted to promote. They didn't even blink when he requested a straw for which to drink his espresso. Of course, people stared at him. They always did. But no one could see his face under the cloth. And that was good. He needed to be hidden. Even if the cloth made him stand out. He could just go to Algeria and lay low there. A black car drove up to the cafe and he got inside. The driver told Curly to go to Caen and drop him off on the main street. After that, who knows? Me and Maurice discussed plans. Drink that man's awful alcohol. But if he had to sip on some bitter wine in order to destroy Artrund, then he would. A headache will go away, Emile. Do not worry. Oh, so one thing I kind of like about the mod is I kind of like this like flickering they have on the flag. This kind of like old-timey like film effect. The war within. Amuel was not feeling all too well today. There was a feeling, a tick in the back of his mind. What was it? What was it? It didn't matter. He continued with his plans. Maurice was in front of him, speaking about something. God, what? Could he repeat that? Speak slower. Please, Maurice, speak slower. I'm not able to. He realized that he wasn't saying that. At least his mouth wasn't saying that. Something flashed in the corner of his eye. Is that a person? Surely one of the privates, just passing through a nearby corridor. Yeah, exactly. A private moving nearby. In his room, there was only one door, no corridors, and it's just he and Maurice. That didn't make sense. But it was the only explanation. He wasn't crazy after all. Absolutely not. The people who were insane, they were the ones in power. If he was fighting them, He wasn't insane. That's how it worked, right? That's how it worked. The tugging. Someone had looped a chain through the back of his skull. He could feel it. The wounds, the dragging friction of the metal. It hurt. It hurt so much. The tugging, the chain, pulling his brain out of his fucking skull. Atron opened his eyes and breathed out a sign of relief. It was over. He was in control now. Gather yourself, Atron. Let yourself... Where are you? Oh, my poor man. What have you gotten yourself into? You lose focus for a few days and now... Friends? Some man he had seen in the most crisp and clear of nightmares was speaking to him. Are you quite alright? Everything clicked. Everything made sense. In one terrible, cruel realization. I apologize, my friend. He adjusted, trying to figure out what was going on. He was in a building. Abandoned, yes. He could tell that by the dust in the windows. And, yes. Okay. This man was speaking. Talking about propaganda. About posters? Recruiting? Arming? He nodded along, listening to whatever he had to say. Of course, Artron said, pointing at a specific part of the map. We could try to strike here. He pointed at the mansion of someone he quite disliked. Some idiot who really didn't believe in him. Or in futurism. And merely in his own power. Eliminating him would be useful. And if these idiots could do it and get themselves arrested, even better. Maurice said. Yes, I think so. Thank you, friend. I shall organize the force as soon as possible. Good, my friend, he replied. I shall see you soon. All the world's a stage. Okay. So I'm guessing Utrund has some sort of condition. Maybe, I don't know what kind of condition it would be. Maybe like multi-personality disorder. I'm not too sure. Either way. Amuel is Utrund. Coronation of Skenibur the 4th, which is Albania. Okay. That is what it is. Okay, state behind our labor or capital. The entirety of that economic thought has been built on a faulty foundation. It assumes that the means of production are meant for petty human consumption, rather than accelerating to a better future. Obviously, we must remedy this great error. Okay, Beijing compromised in a white peace. Partitioned partisans. Maurice was tied to a post, screaming his lungs out about the betrayal and hatred. Whatever he was saying, it was completely lost to Artrund. He didn't really care about some raving lunatic was saying, screaming about freedom, restoration of France, some vague and ill-defined dream of deposing Artrund and recreating a France that would inevitably fail just as the old one that they loved. It didn't matter. He sat and he watched the madman rave. 3 militiamen were laughing with each other, talking about the man they were charged with executing. It was a mercy, really. Sometimes people just are too far gone to call themselves people anymore, and it was a form of torture. There were many madmen in France, people so blinded by some love of the past, some desire to preserve what never worked, and Artrund just did not understand it. It was understandable, of course, that one would want to keep things the same. Status quos are comfortable, but they are also the bane of progress, something to be discarded despite the discomfort. The unknown, the fear you felt with something new, was no different than the pain of muscles one had after a good run. It was a sign of improvement. Those who denied would rather watch their own collapse than embrace the future. And now Artrund watched the militia raise their rifles. Maurice stared at him, trying to find some remnant of mercy, some humanity, something other than pure calculation in his eyes. He found none, and he died sobbing. Hey, 5% stability. I will take that. Revolutionary Japan's declared war on regular Japan. So we'll see what goes on in Japan. Not that it really matters too much for us, I don't think. Okay, Japanese Civil War. Can I skip the song? Unfortunately not. Hopefully it's not copyrighted. Okay, Bulgarian mutiny. Bulgarian election 936. We're supposed to be quiet, at least in theory. Can you... Yeah, okay, I get it. I get there's a coup going on in Japan right now. Okay, so they have gone revisionist socialist. So presumably... Bulgaria is going to go to war with Yugoslav, because Yugoslav right now, they are a polyarchy. But they're probably going to go accelerationist very, very, very soon. That would be my guess. I mean, they've got 56% acceleration support. And I will say, one thing about the accelerationists in the mod, I think I say this every single time I end up playing Red Flood, is that the flags go off. Like Fume's flag's really good. Avant-Garde's France's flag's pretty good. The Kazakh society, they've got a pretty sweet flag over here. You know, Sudan's got a cool flag. They really know their flags. Strange new animals gather. In the countryside, a new futurist faction within our movement, the Clique Durist, is demonstrating their political influence by organizing several Celtic pagan rituals in French forest. Most of their influence is in Brittany, but it's slowly spreading as the younger generations discover the sexual rituals involved. This new subculture is heavily influenced by Yugoslav Zentism and French primitivism, declaring that Celtic tribes lived fast lives despite their technological backwardness, as true speed comes from the mind, not technology. Mark Agur, who is hailed as the Meister, has already organized his followers into a paramilitary group dressed in nothing but the furs of wild animals. In the night, they claim to become true animals. Yes, warn about the dangers of separatism. We can't have a bunch of people in Brittany being naked, dressed in wolf's clothing. Doesn't seem like that'll benefit our main vision, our pure vision for France, right? Okay, their support weapons done. You're 38. We'll go for the 36 artillery tech, and for you, we'll get soft tech and reliability. Korean has declared independence. What's our air force looking like? Dog shit, but let's bring all of our planes together. And we want to merge you guys, merge you. Looking good. I mean, again, I mean, it's not looking that good. In fact, it's pretty bad. Okay, more wars going on in old Japanese Empire. And let me just say, they got some sweet flags. Even the progressives have a sweet flag, actually. Like they got some good flags in Red Flood. They know what they're doing. Is there a futurist Korea? Not really. But even then, they got some good flags here as well. But yeah, I mean, if anybody has any suggestions for maybe some future Red Flood campaigns that you would like to see, I definitely would be interested. And who else we should play? Because again, we've never played the UK and we've never played the USA in Red Flood, ever. So I think those would probably be on my short list for countries I would like to play. But if you have any other ideas, I would love to hear them. Factory output plus 10%. Labor was previously subjugated to either petty bourgeois whims or their own foolish desires. Now labor shall be directed towards achieving a great utopia. Hell yeah. Okay, Japanese Puppet Empire is gone in Indochina. And what else do we have here? Army training programs. Yeah, sure. I'm willing to spend some command power in order to get some more army experience. I think that seems worthwhile. I actually like a lot of these decisions in here. For just some generic, passive money sinks, essentially. Okay, Alexander Kerensky has resigned, and I believe he led Zelto-Russia. And I'm pretty sure you're going to go into a major civil war soon, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, civilian train. How expensive are you? 70 to 105. You know what? Sure. Let's see, actually. You literally have no armor. You actually have air attack as well. I should get armored trains more often. That seems like something I probably should be doing more. They seem pretty good. Okay, Marie Sophie has been elected in Denmark. So Denmark is now led by the DKP. And Labour Party has won in Moldova. So they are now progressive. And is that Elisa Rosenbaum? Is that not Ayn Rand? That's Ayn Rand, right? Okay, well we'll see what she ends up doing over there. Probably like nothing great would be my guess, but we shall see. Okay, Clover, this is in Bulgaria. I mean, Yugoslavia, because they're almost certainly going to go accelerationist, they are an ally of ours. We do want to be friendly with them. And actually, you know what we should do? We should try to gain some more allies. So, you know, let's go full speed into the world. Our revolution has brought glory and rejuvenation to our proud people and proud nation. But it's confined within our own borders. We need to expand. Everyone in the world needs to know the true might of our ideology. By the way, I also really, really like the art that they have for the national focuses here. They're all really, really, really nice. Okay. Danish parliament has been disbanded. The DKP has decided that they are the only party left. Again, expand more factories. What are you? Surplus. I still think it's good. For 15 political power, I still think it's worthwhile for right now. And we are halfway through 36. We'll go for the radio. Because, again, it's not ahead of time, and it's going to be something we do want eventually no matter what. We'll take it. This is in Siam. I think it's, like, kind of funny, too. Because, like, things in all of Europe, we got, a handful of socialist and communist states. We've got, the accelerationist being, like, weird as shit. And then in the United States, you've just got, the GOP. You just got the conservatives in, like, North America. They're just hanging out. North America is just like, you know what? I think the two-party system is still working as intended. I don't know why. I find it very interesting. That's why one reason I think it'd be interesting to play as the U.S. is due to the fact that they are just normal. They're normal in a world that just gone completely to shit. Okay, so there is the Russian coup. Same with the UK as well. They're just led by the Labour Party. Nothing weird. Nothing weird. Okay, Carl II has abdicated in Romania for his son. Romania is just a political hotbed. Like, look, they have a little bit of everything going on there. And then we can get to the Wallonian crisis, which I think allows me to invade Wallonia immediately. They don't have that many troops. And they're just boring liberals. We shouldn't have boring liberals in our Red Flood. They need to be accelerationist. We can't allow self-fulfilling dreams of the cosmos. This is in Ukraine. Ataman Samuel Petluria. New collective for the future was born. Are you going a new accelerationist party here? Because Poland is also accelerationist. But yet, funnily enough, they are actually aligned with Germany. They are in the the Warsaw Pact. Yeah, so you now have the Workers' Collective. You guys are just basic despotic. You're progressive. You're neo-folkism. And again, we got some good flags. That's a nice flag. I'm happy to see it. Ukrainian flag, it's a little bit more boring. It's not the great one, but it is fine for what it is. But again, accelerationist. If we can get more allies, we want to be able to defeat Germany, because Germany is our main adversary for this campaign. When we get to what is like the equivalent of World War II, we're going to be fighting Germany, we're going to be fighting the UK. We want to make sure that we are prepared as much as humanly possible. We're only getting 0.27. This is so bad. Oh my god. We need an improvement on that one. Okay, so next up, the All-National Front for Labor. And the Wallonian question. Our northern neighbor of Wallonia is a mistake. It's barely a state, real or fake. It's obsolete and artificial. It began as a feudal remnant. Some place of the Habsburgs to rest their wretched chains after returning from their niece's bedrooms. Next, the Huns ran through it, as they're particularly and pathetically slow thinkers, flittering between servile monarchism and servile socialism. The Germans just left the non-state to rot. They set up a military government, forgot to install a puppet prince. A single worker soldiers' council tried to invade. They gave up in a bleak Wallonian field. The German occupation government there let diminish, half running off to Prussia, half devoting themselves to a new native military government. Isn't that ridiculous? You stay for so long in Wallonia, you lose your purpose. You become a dinosaur, watching the economy decline, watching the world move on without you. Luckily, we can fix this. Jules Shumalasyuk is a futurist who understands how dire the Wallonian construct is. Although he is both a native speaker of the fake Flemish and considers himself more inspired by the Italians, he has conjured up a Fraternité Française futurist, a brotherhood for all Wallonians who remember their Latin heritage and understand that France is the future of futurism. They have requested military assistance in crushing the Wallonian government, and it would be foolish to try to deny this, although we might gain some amusement in watching a homegrown civil war. Give them provinces but deliver them nothing. Give them arms but refuse to announce support. Or give them full and open support. Absolutely. Give Wallonia whatever they want. I do find it it's kind of funny as well that our stance towards them is basically, wouldn't it be really funny if all the Wallonians start beating each other up? And hey, look at that, they're gone. Excellent. Let's draw your line forward. These guys will assign to the border with the Dutch now. And Fraternité. Herman Baltia has been hanged from the lamppost in Namur, graffiti inscribed behind him. I'm a treacherous snake that sold out the French people. The corpses of his minions and partners in crime are littered behind him. Supposedly, they were planning to run off to the German Congo or go back to their old days. They were crushed too quickly, though. Escadron marched through the streets. They ignored the debris and the bodies of the past. Why look at that awful stuff when you can pay attention to the men and women throwing themselves at your feet? Free hugs, free kisses, free food, everyone singing French songs in that beautifully disconcerted way. Synchronized singing is overrated. Wallonia is overwhelmed with passion. Wallonia has reached her limits. Wallonia is drunk on violence and militancy. If her choir was nice, orderly, innocent church boys and innocent church girls, you'd think she didn't care. Everyone's incoherently spilling out into the streets is a sign that something spectacular has occurred. A cacophony is really bliss. Jules Chalamuzgug gave a speech in the Aliciette, Baltia's former residence. Wallonia is now an integral part of France. It will never be separate again. Still, the work of the French people is never done. Now Wallonia and France are united. They must spread the light of futurism across Europe and then the globe. If that didn't suffice, Archon himself appeared behind Schmalzigug. He congratulated the crowd on freeing themselves from delay, reminding them of their travail under the German occupation government and its successor state. Jules broke down in tears, threw himself in Antion's arms. Now we truly are children of France. It never stops. Today, St. Albans Cathedral burns. It was made by the Pope 350 years ago. Nobody needed that. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow after that, French art and French theater will pour into Wallonia. We'll strangle them with love. For the next few days, Wallonia will be a surreal frontier. Then, we will have the world. Welcome home, brothers. Welcome home. And with that, I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not enjoying it, always thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.